Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and today we're looking at a 1994 Honda Acty K-Truck. This one here is called the Acty Town, so it is a little bit of a special model. This one has 38,000 kilometers on it. It was bought from auction here in Japan to go over to Canada, where you're not going to see too many of these older K-Trucks. Most of the ones to Canada are going to be 1999 or around there, because you can import a 15-year-old vehicle. This one is a little bit older than that, and most of the ones that are older heading over to the USA because they have a 25-year exemption from road regulations. But this one is legal for the USA. You can import this to Canada and then sell it to someone in the US if you wanted to. Some people near the border are into that kind of a business. But yeah, let's go over the condition of the car. For the most part, this is really good. A nice low mileage, 38,000 kilometers. For 1994 is absurdly low mileage, and the vehicle looks like it. Of course, it is a K-Truck. These are used for work, and it does have some scratches and scuffs and whatnot, and we will get into that. But first off, let's go ahead and translate the auction inspection sheet. So this is a 1994 Acty truck, the Town Edition with air conditioning and four-wheel drive. The air conditioning does work on this one. Auction grade 3.5 with an interior B and an exterior B, and that seems about reasonable. 38,254 kilometers at the time of auction. Sales points here: purchase from user, 5-speed manual, four-wheel drive, triple opening bed, or 3 doors bed. So yeah, the tailgate can flip down, and the sides can flip down too, making these a super useful type of vehicle, especially for some sort of work like agriculture type work or whatnot. You can get them in a dump bed as well, which is fantastic. We just bought one recently. Okay, so windshield rock chip, interior scratched and dirty, steering wheel wear. Wheels have covers on them, and the covers are scratched. And then the bed sides are scratched, dented, and have some rust on them. Looking at the body, it's mostly minor scratches on here. The A is a scratch, the U is a dent. The AUP on this side over here, they have some sections that have been painted with touch-up paint and not particularly well done. And then it says down here, various scratches and dents. So before we get into the details, let's take you for a tour around it. I want to show you this, the plate. So the yellow license plate is for K vehicles, like a K truck. You probably heard that name before. K is any vehicle that has a 660cc or smaller engine, as well as fits into very small body size restrictions. The yellow plate is specific to the K cars, and then the plate on this one is even a little bit more unique. If you notice, the top says 41. That refers to a vehicle that's been constantly registered to the same party since before the year 2000. And so, very cool. Maybe not a one owner, but if not, a very long ownership of this vehicle, which is generally a good thing. People who intend to own vehicles for a long time also tend to keep them in better condition. Okay. Let's have a look around the rest of it now. The Acty Town Edition, you might want to know a little bit about that. This was meant to be the K-Truck that's a little bit higher trim for somebody who intends to drive the car a little bit more than just for work, or maybe wants something a little bit more comfortable. So your major differences are the headlights have white surrounds. You get hubcaps instead of just regular steel wheels. And then you get fabric seats inside instead of vinyl seats, which I suppose are a little bit more comfortable or a little bit more warm on a cold day. Besides that, it's pretty much just a K-Truck. And I don't think it's really worth it to target these town versions. I think if you find one and the mileage is good and the condition is good and the price is right, then go for it. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to only be shopping for the towns unless you absolutely love white surrounds for the headlights. Okay, so details. We're missing a little bit of the town sticker there. Front bumper is actually pretty good. A few minor scratches, and you can see here they used spray paint and it's dripped down. Okay, maybe a little bit of the beginnings of fade on plastic parts like the bumper. K-Trucks tend to be painted in a very thin paint that will go away quickly and fade faster than other vehicles. So if you find one like this that barely has any fade, it's really quite lucky. Got a dent down here. That's probably more like a U2. the auction sheet said U, but didn't really give a number. Some auctions are just like that. This one here was bought from LAA, which tends to be fair grades, but sells for a little bit cheaper than other auctions, I find. A lot of these smaller auctions tend to do that. Okay, so we have a few minor scratches around this area, and then some more areas where spray paint was used to touch it up. This right here is what looks like a scuff, but it's not very deep. Like, it feels like that might be more substance on the car than scratch of the paint that's gone. A little bit of a dented section here in the door, and a few scratches around the handle in this area. When you come down here, you got more areas that have been touched up with the touch-up paint. And when I say touch-up paint, I mean spray paint in this case. Okay, and a scratch along there as well. The bed tops have these rubber covers on them to keep them in better condition. Oftentimes, this area is very prone to getting scratched as you're lifting stuff in and out of the vehicle. These rubber caps, excellent to have, but if you take a look at right underneath it, there are some scratches. So these rubber caps might not have been on there the whole time, and if you were to peel it off, you might find that there is some scratches underneath. That said, there's really no reason to peel that off to go searching for that. These bed caps, while you can buy them here in Japan, you can't get them outside of Japan very easily. Okay, the corner here on both corners has some chips on it. Likewise, this part isn't covered by the caps, and so is more prone to being scratched as people are lifting things in and out of the vehicle. And when you come down here, there is a few minor scratches, some areas of touch-up paint, and then this area here has been dented in a little bit. You can see it right there as well. Okay, some paint blemish there, and some more scratches in this area. The back rack has some surface rust on it in some areas where it's been scratched, and then some chips and whatnot. Has a back light. And then this area here looks like it's a scratched section of the car. There's actually a board that has been put in there. It's like a foamy type of board. So you could take that out if you really wanted to. And then you'd have what would probably be a fairly fresh back area. Once again, that is an area that's prone to scratching, as if you put something in the vehicle and it slides against that, it can very easily scratch it. And it has a bed mat, and underneath, not perfect, but pretty good. Okay. Cold and windy today, so I'm Mr. Sniffles, so bear with me. Okay, so this area here has managed to not only get some chipped paint in various areas, but also kind of pushed in a little bit or dented. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the exterior. Oh, the wheel caps. Yeah, they're a little bit in rough condition. You can see a crack in this one, and most of them have little chipped paint and whatnot. Most K-Trucks, I don't know about this one. This one visually looks like a 4x100, so that's what I think it is. But some of these K-Trucks are 4x110, which is a really weird wheel size. You don't get a ton that size anymore. Going to the interior, and there's not a lot to these trucks for the interior. We have door cards that have been sun-faded a little bit. In this case, they are brown, whereas I think the regular version is gray, like unpainted gray. So you can see some fade in this area and some discoloration. There might be some luck in using like hydrogen peroxide or retro bright or something like that on these. Or you could just paint them. They're very simple. Oops, I kicked my foot on the intersection of the door marks, like right there. And then some my pants are abrasive marks, right there and right here. Very, very common on all K-Trucks to have that. Okay, I always thought this is funny. The headrests are attached right to the body of the car. And then size-wise in the interior, I recommend K-Trucks for people under 6 feet tall. And even at that, you're at a little bit of a squeeze to get in. I'm 5'10". They're okay for me to drive. They're not something that you're going to put on huge mileage. And I would be a little bit worried about driving them high speeds on the highway simply because of crash protection. You know, something in Japan, your highways max speed in Japan is 80 kilometers an hour for most of them, and then some of them have changed over to 100. But you don't get people going extremely quickly on the highways here like you do back home. I come from Canada. Highways have crazy people on them sometimes. and extremely big trucks compared to here in Japan. So it says no smoking there. There's no smell inside, but I believe it has been smoked in. The cigarette lighter has some marks of having been used once. And then it's a little discolored in here, even if it's not ashy, so it might have had ash in there at some point. Okay, so it does have AC. You can see that right here, and you get a tape deck, and you get a 5-speed manual, and it's full auto 4-wheel drive, so you don't have to select 4-wheel drive yes or no. And one of the visors sags down and can't be pushed back up. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this one. As usual, if you have any questions about this vehicle or about importing or anything, you can check out our website. You can leave a post in the comments. We don't actually see all the comments because we have like a few thousand videos on now, so we just get a ton of comments. Best to email us if you have any questions, or check out our website. There's a link to that in the description. That's all for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and have a nice day.